everyone is still fascinated over tall vehicles. Trucks, SUVs, and crossovers remain in hot demand, but let's be real, not everyone can afford the most glamorous models. The good news for those looking to spend car-like money on a utility vehicle is there are plenty of SUVs and wagons shaped like SUVs that are affordable. With modern vehicles advancing ever forward in terms of features, content, and style, we would hesitate to call any of these low-cost crossovers cheap in the pejorative definition of the word. Most come standard with must-haves such as folding rear seats and Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. In this two-part series, we will explore the 10 least expensive crossovers and SUVs you can buy in 2022 and 2023. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. The 2023 Honda HR-V. Although no one would call the outgoing HR-V pretty, it was at least pretty distinctively styled. The 2023 model, however, is almost bland. A drooping front end and grille opening recall the Ford Escape, hardly a high watermark for beauty, and the stubby tail is likewise featureless and plain. The Nordic Forest Pearl paint is a worthy use of $395, providing subtle sophistication to the merely adequate shapes it provides. Inside, however, it's a completely different story. The Civic donates its dashboard mesh to the HR-V, hiding the air conditioning vents behind some Kennedy-era style. But the crossover's overall design theme is rounder than that of the Civic, with a bulge and shift binnacle that invokes Honda's legendary sports spikes. A half-digital instrument cluster is the only big design misstep. Why not just make the whole gouge display powered by pixels? The touchscreen, 7 inches in the LX and Sport, and 9 inches in the EXL, are exceptionally better than the outgoing HR-V's slow, convoluted, and just plain old system. There is only one engine and transmission combo available, a 2-liter inline-4 good for 158 horsepower and 138 pound-feet of torque that's connected to a CVT automatic. It's quite slow, with a dearth of low-end grunt. Lay into the throttle and nothing really happens, which is in contrast to the punchy little turbo engines of many competitors. The CVT does a good job of behaving like a reasonably normal transmission by simulating gear shifts. Beyond the powertrain, the driving experience is impressively refined for the segment. Perhaps it's the various current generation CR-V bits and pieces in the suspension, but it does have a more substantial, sophisticated feel. Body roll is kept in decent check, and the steering is consistently weighed with commendable response. The 2023 Honda HR-V starts at $24,900 for two-wheel drive LX, with prices going up for the Sport and EXL trims. All-wheel drive is a $1,500 extra. The 2022 Toyota Corolla Cross. Corollas tend to be styled for the lowest common denominator, and this crossover variant is no exception. But emotive design is rare in this segment, save perhaps Toyota's own CHR. Unlike that polarizing and claustrophobic CUV, the Corolla Cross will happily serve in the background. The long front overhang and wide-eyed headlights do some getting used to, but sculpted front and rear-end fenders help keep the design grounded. Inside, there is an ergonomically laid-out dashboard with a monolithic center touchscreen and adequate, though not class-leading materials. The only significant complaint about the cabin is a dash top that's more reflective than one would like. It's still not as bad as the high-gloss Kia Seltos or plasticky VW Taos, but the Corolla Cross does cast some distracting reflections onto the windshield on bright days. Using Toyota's dated-looking Entune infotainment software, the Corolla Cross won't be impressing anyone here. But simple menus and a split-screen function for the 8-inch center display mean it's easy to keep an eye on things while driving down the road. The semi-digital instrument cluster bundles a 7-inch screen in the center with a few analog gouges flanking it. The Toyota Corolla Cross comes with only one engine and transmission option. It gets a naturally aspirated 2.0-liter 4-cylinder that produces 169 horsepower and 150 pound-feet of torque mated to a CVT automatic. In most respects, the Corolla Cross is just fine to drive. It has a slightly soft ride without being floaty, the steering is numb but accurate, wind, road, and tire noise are moderate, but not overly intrusive. You won't hate it, and you certainly won't love it. The base Corolla Cross is the L trim level, and it starts at $23,400 with destination. The next trim levels are the LE and XLE. Standard features include LED headlights, manual single-zone climate control, manually adjustable cloth seats, power windows and locks, remote lock-in, and a 7-inch screen with Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay, and Android Auto. The 2022 Subaru Crosstrek. Subaru kept the styling of the Crosstrek relatively simple, alongside updated elements found throughout the range like revised headlights and rear design. The sporty wagon adopts trim-specific 17-inch wheels finished in dark gray, a shade that also makes its way to the grille, mirror caps, roof rails, and badges. In general, the Crosstrek is still very much a looker. The interior is comfortable and feels light and airy due to its upright pillars and plenty of glass. Apart from some fun-colored trim, it's not particularly exciting to look at. But the plastics are all high-quality pieces, and upper trim models get two-tone seats and, dependent on trim level, yellow or orange accents. The main tech annoyance is that various vehicle functions are displayed and controlled through touchscreen and instrument panel display and Subaru's distinctive dash-top display. The latter two displays are operated using buttons on the steering wheel. It's always confusing to know which of the three possibilities control what, especially driver assistant functions, or whether it's just a standalone button. The Crosstrek's base engine is a 2-liter 4-cylinder that makes 152 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque, mated to either a standard 6-speed manual or an optional CVT automatic. Sport and Limited models come standard with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder with 182 horsepower and 176 pound-feet of torque. Base 2-liter takes an agonizingly long time to get up to speed. As such, we strongly recommend stepping up to the 2.5-liter engine. Really, the added power was all the Crosstrek needed. It rides well with good comfort from what feels like greater suspension travel than subcompact SUVs like the Hyundai Kona and Toyota CHR. There is quite a lot of body roll, but in this class of vehicles, that's a reasonable trade-off for big bump cushiness. Pricing starts at $24,900, but that's with the standard 6-speed manual transmission. It goes up to $26,200 with a CVT. From there, prices can climb all the way to the limited trim for $30,000. The 2022 Mazda CX-30. A relative newcomer, the Mazda CX-30 blends the upscale style and nice steering endemic to its brand with the small footprint of an affordable subcompact SUV. Much like the Subaru Crosstrek, the CX-30 is pretty much a compact hatchback, in this case a Mazda 3, that's been stilted up and closed in some body armor. Neither modification detracts from the 3's sleek style, which means the CX-30 comes off as a near-luxury product. That helps it to stand out among the more basic duds worn by most subcompact SUV competitors. Like the Mazda 3 with which it shares so much, the CX-30's cabin makes you go wow, considering its price and the vehicles with which it competes. It's augmented by standard multi-tone color schemes. Cars with cloth or leatherette vinyl upholstery are accented with black and blue dash door trim, while those with leather get black and brown. The new Carbon Edition is red and black. For a car in the $20,000 to $35,000 range, it looks and feels special. Mazda's tech interface, which had been a liability in older Mazdas, is substantially more advanced in the CX-30. The dash-top screen is large and easy to see. The knob that controls it is big, ergonomically placed on the center console, just like BMW's iDrive controller. Every CX-30 comes with all-wheel drive plus a 6-speed automatic. Cars dubbed CX-30 2.5S have a naturally aspirated 2.5-liter inline-4 that produces 186 horsepower and the same amount of pound-feet of torque. And the turbo models feature a turbocharged 2.5-liter inline-4 producing 250 horsepower and 320 pound-feet of torque on 93 octane. If you want to feel what a car is doing through the steering wheel, throttle pedal, and through the seat of your pants, the Mazda CX-30 is exactly the type of small crossover you are looking for. The primary control efforts and feedback are just as exceptional. When it comes to providing an engaging drive experience, no SUV comes remotely close to the CX-30's price range. There is even a case to be made that it provides more driving fun than a BMW X2. The base price for the S-Trim is $23,500 and increases all the way to the S-Premium at $31,700. The 2023 Hyundai Kona. Design is always subjective, but we applaud Hyundai and its designers for making Kona look unique. While the design is interesting, it's also busy with a lot of intakes and vents that go nowhere and do nothing. The body cladding around the Kona's lower half, which the designers use effectively to project a rough and tumble image, is actually painted like the rest of the body panels and will suffer scrapes and scratches just the same, as opposed to typical body cladding that's unpainted dark plastic and meant to take abuse that would damage paint. For the money and for this humble segment, the Kona's interior is just fine. Plastics are unremarkable and the design is a bit bland, especially since Hyundai no longer offers vibrantly colored trim options or distinctively standard upholstery. It's all very monochromatic now. The low dash offers good visibility, the steering wheel sufficiently adjusts, and most trims benefit from a power driver's seat that provides more adjustability than most in the segment. One of the Kona's major perks is the easy-to-use infotainment system. With either available 10.25-inch or standard 8-inch touchscreen, a user-friendly interface pairs with plenty of physical shortcut buttons and, importantly, physical volume and tuning knobs. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard features on all models. When it comes to power, the SE and SEL trim levels are powered by a 2-liter inline-4 producing 147 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque with a CVT automatic transmission. The Inline Unlimited get a 1.6-liter turbo inline-4 that produces 195 horsepower and the same amount of pound-feet of torque, but comes standard with a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. Considering these powertrain choices, in general, every Kona impresses with a surprisingly fun driving experience highlighted by tidy body control and well-calibrated steering. The ride is on the firm side, especially on the N-line, but in a way consistent with sporty cars. There is quite a lot of road noise, though nothing in this segment is going to be as serene as a cocoon. Pricing starts at $23,300 for the base SC with front-wheel drive, and increases as you jump throughout the trim levels. Standard equipment is pretty generous with 16-inch alloy wheels, a full complement of driver assist features, automatic headlights, and much more. So, which one do you prefer? Let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn notifications for the latest car reviews and news. Take care, and see you in the next one.